Okay guys, welcome to another one of our Overwatch offensive character modes. Today we'll be doing Genji. So first off, his left flick, it shoots 3 shurikens in a straight line. However, if you are moving, it's going where the crosshair is aiming. So you can actually, if you're moving too much, it will become a spread. Next up, and that does 56 damage per shuriken headshot. So you can 4-shot squishies, so two shurikens, if you're landing 4 headshots, you're killing them. Next up is his right click. Fires a spread, so it's designed to be used very close quarters. You know, you're really hitting someone like from about here to here, so you can land all 3. It's like the other shurikens. It's a 28 damage body shot, and it also has the same headshot multiplier. So it is the same thing. It's just a spread, and you can fire it quicker. So. Next up, we got his wall climbing ability. So he and Hanzo share this ability. They can both climb up things. It's great to get behind people or get away from people when you need to. Next up, he has his double jump. So you know, when you can double jump around. If you combine this with his wall climb, get up something, double jump to another area that you might not have been able to get to with other players. Also great for whilst you're in combat, making yourself a difficult target to hit. Next up, we got his shift ability. So the dash forward, great to get away from people. It does 50 damage if you go through someone, and you can go through multiple people with it. And you can use it vertically, or so you can get to, like, if you want to. You could go upwards and then double jump onto a bit of cover or whatever you want to do. So like this, for instance. Next up, we have his reflect ability. So if Fred shoots at me here, all of his shots are reflected to him. This only works for projectiles. Doesn't work for any sort of energy and laser-based weapons, as they can't obviously be reflected by something like that. So finally, we got his ultimate here. So you can still do everything whilst using his ultimate. You can block, you can shift through people, and you can cut them, and it will do 120 damage per slice in quite a large area in front of you. So this is often well used when there's a cluster of enemies. You just use that on them, and you can get massive damage on all of them, and probably kill quite a few of them, especially the squishies, as you'll be 2-shotting them. Using this with all your movement abilities, making you a hard target to hit, it's a very, very powerful ultimate, and it's one of the things that makes Genji such a good character to play. The thing about Genji is, there's a reason he and Tracer share that movement speed, and it is because they are sort of distraction heroes. They're there to cause havoc. They're there to get behind lines and distract the enemy and take them out sort of one by one, really. So an effective Genji player will have to really utilize the movement, whereas, you know, a Tracer, the movement is obvious. The movement's part of it, and, you know, you're even reminded that by the fact she has so low health and that her guns do so low damage that you have to be moving around to stay alive at all. With Genji, it's often easy to forget that when you're starting to learn the game, and it's important that you use the verticality of the map, because obviously Genji has that wall climb, he has that double jump. You can really get anywhere, and you can really, like, even a Pharah up in the sky, you can mess with that. You can, like, it's crazy how versatile Genji really is. And, you know, he's got that triple shuriken throw, and it's 100% accurate. Land a triple headshot, you're doing 175 damage per hit, like for a triple headshot. You know, that's two clicks of the shurikens in someone's head. Like, maybe you're facing off against some sort of Widowmaker, some sort of Hanzo. 2 clicks, they can be down all the way. When you get close to people, you got that right click with the shotgun sort of spread of them, and you can use that a bit quicker as well. And, you know, that you got to use that effectively. Also when you're getting close to people, like a Reaper or a Roadhog, you can reflect that shot straight into them. Say Roadhog hooks you in, you reflect the shot, you double jump like away, or you dash through them, stuff like that. You got to be like on the ball when you're playing a Genji, because you don't have the easy advantage of movement speed, but you have that extra damage. Your ultimate is mental. It's a a huge swipe with the sword, does 100 so damage per hit.
It's got massive range.
It's got exactly. It's effectively like having a second Reaper almost, not to the same easy extent because you obviously have to target the hero, but it gives you more freedom of movement than a Reaper, and it gives you that ability to also reflect bullets. Still, you can just still dash, you can still wall climb, still double jump. You got all your movement still, but then you got this massive sword, and if you get close, two-shotting most squishies, and if you get, for instance, like it's a great way of taking out a Bastion if they're behind a shield. You reflect, you get close, you pull out the sword, and you swipe 3 times, and he's dead. You got to make advantage of that, because with Tracer, it's an easier sort of play to play, but you sacrifice health, you sacrifice a good ultimate in comparison. You really gotta play Genji well.
Yeah, not much to say really.
Yeah, and one other thing is that you got to make sure you're using that E ability all the time, because I mean, if there's only a few counter Genjis. For instance, when you're playing against a Winston, you might even have to just change hero, or you have to, your teammates are going to have to help you out with that, because a Winston, his laser is just absolutely insane against Genji. I mean, what are you going to do? He's going to out damage you, and he's going to out health you, so you can't do anything. Even in sword mode, he's messing you up. So same with Zarya, she's got that shield as well. It's even more annoying. So you got to really make sure that if you're facing against these kind of people, the anti-Genjis almost, you got to make sure that you're like moving away, or you're just even changing hero, because you don't want to get in sort of a routine where you're just constantly being destroyed by the same heroes over and over again, because you're not winning the team your game. But if you got a Genji and they're playing really well, you can win the game for your team. Similarly, obviously, this seems obvious now that I've talked about Winston and Zarya already, but when you're playing against a Genji, if you're feeling like this Genji player is insane, he's killing me every second, say you're playing a Bastion, this is happening, because obviously the Bastion, the Genji's a counter Bastion, so if you're feeling...
Especially if the Bastion's occupied, the Genji can get behind him.
Exactly, because he's a flanker hero with the extra speed, and it's very important that if this happens to you, you got to change to Winston, and maybe if the Genji changes after that because he's being raped by a Winston or a Zarya constantly, then you can change back to the Bastion, and he won't even think about changing back to the Genji to counter you, and then you can release the full extent of your powers. So you just got to make sure you look out for a Genji. You don't expect him enough.